Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Victory Monday on PTA. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. First things first, I want to apologize for the voice. Obviously, if you guys hung out with us late on the post-game show last night, voice started to go a little under the weather, but we're here really excited about today's show. We may have Tim joining us shortly. We'll see if he rolls out of bed. I don't blame him if he's sleeping in, but hopefully everybody's having an awesome morning. I see the chat already filling up here. Appreciate y'all making us a part of this Victory Monday. Guys, we're going to try to cover a whole lot in a short amount of time, as long as the voice does hold up. I apologize for the hacking on the microphone as well. We'll try to limit that as much as we can. So Victory Monday, we're going to talk about the love to Tucker Kraft connection. We'll have you some sound bites from a lot of the game. Really, we'll also talk about Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary showing up, showing out. Micah Parsons dominating all day long, and then of course Rashawn Gary with probably the most important play of the game as well. We'll also hear from Josh Jacobs too, who had, I think, a very, very underrated day as well. When the game was on the line, when the money was on the table, they went to Josh Jacobs in the fourth quarter and he got the job done. So really excited to hear him fired up as well. Before we do, if you guys would do that YouTube stuff for me, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your Victory Monday. We're not experts here. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you, talking Packers on the daily. So if you're looking for that type of content, make sure you hit subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified when we do go live here in the future. All right, let's get this thing kicked off right. One of the things I like to do on Victory Mondays, and you're going to see more of these as my work schedule has slowed down for the year. So we'll be in here every Monday morning. Hopefully the majority of them will be Victory Mondays. We'll see moving forward. But one of the things I like to do is get the locker room soundbite, right? What was the buzz like in the locker room with Matt LaFleur addressing the team immediately following this win? All right, so let's jump into that first and foremost here, and let's see what Coach LaFleur had to say in the locker room. You'll see screen grabs like this just to prevent copyright stuff. We're allowed to use the audio. Sometimes AI will trigger the video. So again, here is Matt LaFleur in the locker room last night following this 27-23 victory over the Arizona Cardinals.
Victory Monday! Hey, man, there's never a doubt. What we say, just keep swinging. It ain't always going to be easy. Give it up for yourself. There was a lot of great performances out there, but I got to mention three guys, all right? This guy came in freaking a week ago, and he just kicked the longest field goal in Next guy had a career day, 3 sacks. Micah Parsons.
I just appreciate y'all for welcoming me. This journey hasn't been easy, but y'all been making this special. Can't wait to keep going.
There was some doubt whether or not this guy was going to play today.
Back to back.
Josh Jacobs.
I don't ever want anybody in here to doubt what I give and how I care about y'all boys, bro. Every day I come in this bro to work, and I can't look you in the eye, bro, if I don't give everything I got. I love y'all boys, bro, and I appreciate y'all for everything, bro. Let's keep working.
And I just want to tell you guys, I'm so proud of you. We came in here against adversity from last night. We gutted it out. We saw some glimpses of complimentary football. Defense getting us the ball. We go putting points on the board. We just got to keep driving that home. Every game, one play at a time.
Go Pack on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Go back.
All right, there you go. So the audio from within the locker room, Packers picking up a big win there as they improve to 4-1-1. They're now the number 2 seed in the National Football Conference. Now let's talk about Matt LaFleur for a second. We're going to continue to give you guys updates on this every single week as Matt LaFleur continues to just tally up win after win. I understand this upsets some fans. They can get over it. The fact that there's a portion of the fan base that somehow think Matt LaFleur is not a good head coach, it's still mind-boggling to me. Is he perfect? No. There's no coaches that were. You could talk to Vince Lombardi's players, and they had negative things to say about Vince Lombardi. I guarantee you at the time there were negative fans when they first hired Vince Lombardi. And now, am I saying that Matt LaFleur is Vince Lombardi? Absolutely not. Nobody is. He's one of one, right? But the point is, there's no head coach in the history of the game that was perfect. Bill Belichick has more championships than any other coach in NFL history, more Super Bowls, right? He's been criticized more than anybody over the last 5 years. So, again, there's no perfect coaching candidate or coaching hire, right? However, Matt LaFleur, man, I'm telling you, he's one of the best to ever do it. As you can see here, the winning percentage amongst head coaches in the history of the National Football League. We're going to continue to update it again, like I said, every single week that Matt LaFleur gets a win. He has now passed Paul Brown. Yesterday on the show, I believe I had mentioned that it was Don Shula he was going to pass. I was wrong there. It was actually Paul Brown, Hall of Fame coach. So he's now passed Tony Dungy in winning percentage, who was sitting at 668. And then yesterday he passed Paul Brown, who's sitting at 672. Guys, what this means is Matt LaFleur is winning 67% of the games he's coached in, right? And again, for the longest time, it was, well, he's got Aaron Rodgers. He's got Aaron Rodgers. Guys, he's doing it without Aaron Rodgers now, obviously, for 3 years now. He continues to pile on the wins and up in that winning percentage. He's now at 675. So next on the list, currently Jim Harbaugh is just above Matt LaFleur at 676. Like I said, Matt LaFleur sitting at 675. But keep in mind, Jim Harbaugh has only coached in, what is the total games? 88 games. Matt LaFleur has coached in 106. So next on the list, because Harbaugh, again, will continue to win games just like Matt LaFleur will, so they'll probably pass each other, a time and time after again. But Don Shula is next on the list. If Matt LaFleur wins this week, if my numbers are correct here, I think he will pass Don Shula in winning percentage. If not, it'll happen in the next couple of wins as long as they don't go on a losing streak here. So if you guys don't know who Don Shula is, he coached for the Baltimore Colts. And then, of course, he coached for the Miami Dolphins, who they are the only undefeated team in the history of the game, the 1972 Dolphins. So with that being said, if Matt LaFleur passes Don Shula, that's another Hall of Fame coach. And then next on the list will be Papa Bear George Halas, who's sitting at 682, another Hall of Fame coach. So I'm telling you, man, if Matt LaFleur continues to do what he's doing, he's going to be in the top 10 in the history of the league in winning percentage going into next season, which is just absolutely wild to think that there are some fans who are still calling for his job. Does he got to win a championship? Absolutely he does. There's no two ways about that. But the fact that Matt LaFleur has now put him – guys, look at some of the names he's passed in winning percentage. Paul Brown, Hall of Famer. Tony Dungy, Hall of Famer. Sean McDermott, who coaches the Buffalo Bills. Some would say he's one of the best coaches in the last 25 years. I don't know if I agree with it, but there are some people that say that. Andy Reid. Andy Reid is sitting at 650. Matt LaFleur is starting to put a lot of distance between him and Andy Reid. There's now six different guys, right? 6 different coaches in between him, or at least 5 different coaches in between Matt LaFleur and Andy Reid. Now, again, Andy Reid's got the championships. That's the only thing, the only notch that Matt LaFleur needs on his belt is to win that Lombardi, to win that Super Bowl. Kevin O'Connell won Coach of the Year last year. Everybody loves Kevin O'Connell. He's sitting at 649, right? George Seifert, who coached for the 49ers. You can go down this list, and again, this is just a screen grab on X. You can go down this list and find a bunch of Hall of Fame coaches that Matt LaFleur has absolutely smoked in winning percentage. So again, the point isn't to say Matt LaFleur is perfect. We know he's not. Nobody is. But damn, can we just take a second and appreciate the fact that Matt LaFleur is one of the greatest coaches in the history of the game? I mean, that's what the record says. How many coaches won 13 games 3 different times in a season, And now, again, he's continuing to just build upon that resume, the Hall of Fame resume, with Jordan Love at the helm. And now all of a sudden, Jordan Love is looking like a top 5 QB, right? Possibly top 3. And who's responsible for that? Is it just Jordan Love? Or does Matt LaFleur get a little bit of praise for that too? I mean, because the reality is Jordan Love has been handcrafted, right, by Matt LaFleur. Just like many people didn't want to give Mike McCarthy credit for Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers had went to the Cleveland Browns, or if Aaron Rodgers had went to the Chicago Bears, or name another team, he would not have got the proper coaching, the proper training that it takes to be the player that he is. He would have still been a great quarterback, but we might have been looking at him like a Phillip Rivers, or who knows, right? But because you have Mike McCarthy putting him through, at the time they were doing what they called, it was a very, very famous quarterback camp that Mike McCarthy put Aaron Rodgers through. That's what molded him into the great quarterback that he is. Like, you take someone who's got elite arm talent like him, and then you get him with a good coaching staff, and that's what really handcrafts it, molds a player into that first ballot Hall of Famer that he is. So again, the people that like to dog Mike McCarthy over Aaron, well, he had Aaron Rodgers. He should have won more Super Bowls with Aaron Rodgers. Okay, how many Super Bowls did Aaron win without him? And the same thing can kind of be said for now, Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur. It's like, all right, let's go get that Lombardi so you can put yourself in that upper echelon of not just Packers coaches, but all-time NFL head coaches. I'm excited to see where this team goes, man. It's been a fun year so far, and I love the fact that they're scrappy wins, like this 4-point win, right? And again, people would say, oh, you should have beat them by 2 scores. Guys, the spread was 6.5 points. We were just 2.5 points off the spread. Why are we surprised, that the games are closer than they are? So I don't know, man. But let's go to the chat real quick. I'm going to try to keep up with it here and to give me a chance to take we'll just go slow this morning since I'm flying solo and battling this illness here. But Elijah Gwynn in the chat said, "Boss man yelling at me for watching YouTube at my desk, but it's Victory Monday, gang." That's right, man. Go Pack, go. Appreciate you, buddy. Jen Wright says adversity builds character. She goes on to say, Josh Jacobs in tears broke my heart. We'll hear from that here in a little bit more on Josh Jacobs. Obviously, you heard his voice cracking in that video or that audio from the locker room for sure. Margin Cron in the house. Victory Monday. Let's get that diesel flowing. We get the diesel going right here, man. We're good to go. A little extra high octane diesel to keep things going along here on this Victory Monday. J. Cole in the chat says, the amount of so-called Packer fans that I block on game day is jaw-dropping. That's the big surprise, right, Jay? And I actually put a similar tweet out just a few minutes ago on X. Was like, I think I've got the algorithm and the X/Twitter feed humming, because all I'm seeing is people complaining about Packer fans now, right? And for me, it's mostly positive. It's mostly constructive. It's hey, man, here's what happened on this play. It's film breakdown. It's fans talking about the milestones, all that stuff. That's the way to fan, man. I'm just telling you right now, dude. Telling you. Elijah Gwynn in the chat says that last 4th down had me ready to fire him. Once they converted it, I'm ready to send him to the Hall of Fame, man. That's the ups and downs of being a fan, right? And you guys know how I feel about going for it on 4th down. I'm typically conservative. There was something different last night, and we're going to dive into that. Matter of fact, that's a good segue there, Elijah. Appreciate you, buddy. We'll put you on the payroll. Let's jump into a couple more audios here, okay? So first of all, this is the Tucker Kraft touchdown. This is the audio from the in-game feed, all right? So courtesy of Fox NFL. This was Jordan Love hitting Tucker Kraft for the tying score. I apologize if it's too loud or too low. I'll try to find the sweet spot by the time this show is over. But again, here we go. This was Jordan Love finding Tucker Kraft. This was the very first play of the 4th quarter. Packers are trailing 20-13.
To the right side of Love, who fakes the handoff to Jacobs, and now throws, and it's taken in for a touchdown by Kraft.
Love it. So there you go. You see Tucker Kraft scoring there with the first play of the 4th quarter. Again, when the game's on the line, think play or not play, right? We see it time and time and time again. Well, let's fast forward now to that 4th down play that we were talking about, right? This is a 4th and 2, okay? 2:32 left in the game. And guys, just to give you an idea of how I felt about them going for this, I went through this up and down moment. Like when they chose, they were, maybe they were going to go for it and then decide, all right, we're going to walk the field goal unit on, and then they changed their mind and they end up going for it. I kind of felt like they were going to try to draw them off sides. And then it hits me when they get back on the field. I'm going, man, if they draw them off side, or if they don't draw them off sides here, they're going to waste their last time out, right? If you don't get it here, you get the 2-minute warning stopping you, but essentially, or stopping the clock once. But essentially what you got here is, this is really the game on the line here, this one play. And the fact that Jordan went out there and was just like, all right, we're running the play. And listen, Matt LaFleur, we'll give you the origin of everything and how it unfolded here in just a second. Let's just play the audio from the play. Again, this is a 4th and 2, okay? And they come out in a Trey left set, and they've got a it's basically Trey Nasty left, and you got Dobbs split out a little bit wide as the X, sidecar same size as Dobbs. But let's hit the audio here. This was Jordan Love, 4th and you need 2 yards, guys, 2 yards. And Jordan Love loads this thing up and throws an absolute dime piece to Tucker Kraft on a corner/out route. It's more of an option route. And you'll hear from Matt here in a minute. But essentially what they were doing on this play was they had a man beater on one side, and they had a man beater and a zone beater selected, right? And what happens is you can come out and can. Now, I know a lot of fans were talking last week. I think it was last week or the week before. They were talking about how, man, every time we go to a run. They know that the can is the run. We need to change that up, guys. You can have 2 pass plays called and can 2. You know what I mean? You got a pass play called. You don't like the look. You got a zone beater. You don't like the look. You can do a man beater. You can come out with 2 run plays called, right? And you don't like what you get. You call a can and you go to the second run play. It can be a pass and then a run with the can. It can be a run with the pass as a can. So that's all a bunch of BS. That's just fans trying to nitpick and think they're smarter than they are in terms of, well, the coaches, they're way too predictable. It's just, that's not how that operated there. But anyway, they came out. We find out, hindsight's 2020, we find out from Matt LaFleur that what it was you had a man beater and a zone beater. Well, Jordan read zone, okay? He was reading zone, so he checked or he canned to the zone play. Or maybe he didn't can out at all. He stuck with the zone play, and it ended up being man coverage. And it still ended up working. We'll hear more from Matt LaFleur on that in just a second. But again, if you guys follow the show closely, we create the game plan on our Patreon group every week. If you guys remember, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. You get access to that every week. And what we do is we put together a game plan. And one of the things we talked about all week long was they're going to play a lot of shell look. They're going to play a lot of quarters coverage. Okay. And the thing about that shell look, it's what we did under Joe Barry. And I know fans sour on it quick, but you're showing the same 2 high shell look every single play. And then you're disguising everything. So what you're doing is you're taking the ability to read pre-play out of the quarterback's hands. So now everything's got to be a post-snap decision. Okay. Well, Jordan came out and he thought he read zone and ended up being man, if I remember correctly. Again, we'll hear from LaFleur in a second. But here's the audio. 2:32 left in the 4th quarter, 4th and 2 play. When the money's on the table, he goes looking for Tucker Kraft again. Here we go.
Jordan Love and the Packers on 4th down. Love throws to the outside. It's caught for a first down by Kraft.
So love to see it, man. And then you've got Tucker Kraft over there high-fiving Packer fans in Arizona. Love to see it. Want to give a shout-out to the Packer fans who showed up for that game. Absolutely awesome turnout. You could hear the Go Pack Go chants going nuts in the stadium. It's so cool that the Packers can go halfway across the country and it still feel like a home game. So, listen, the fans catch a lot of criticism for selling Packers tickets and this and that. But boy, oh boy, yesterday, man, they showed up in Arizona. So it goes both ways for sure. I'm going to try to remember that next time I'm overly critical of fans like that. So again, that was Tucker Kraft with the play. So let's throw this image up here as we actually no, it's going to be Matt LaFleur now. So we got Matt LaFleur at the podium last night, and he describes what happened on that 4th down play. Okay, I said Packers head coach Matt LaFleur walks us through how he made the decision to go for that crucial 4th down that led to the win. Again, we showed you his winning percentage, right? We talk about how I think he's an underrated head coach. Now, as you dive into this, you're starting to see how he depends on his players, how he trusts his players to make plays, guys. That's a big part. You can scheme the hell out of a defense, right? You can do everything right in that regard. But when the game's on the line, are you going to be able to make those split-second decisions that's the difference between a win or a loss? Matt's gotten criticized for that in the past. Yesterday, knocked it out of the park. Here's Matt LaFleur on that 4th down conversion that we just played for you, where Jordan Love hit Tucker Kraft. Is a 4th and 2, and they end up getting like a 15-yard gain, right? So here we go. Here's Coach LaFleur at the podium last night.
He did.
You had a really big decision to make there, and you started running out the kicker. You called the timeout. What was going through you? What made you decide to do what you ended up doing?
Well, when our quarterback's coming off, and I can see the disdain on his face, and I looked up at the clock, saw how much time was left, It wasn't by any means a chip shot, although Lucas has come in and done a hell of a job. So I just one of those deals where I was like, no matter what we call, this guy's going to make it work. And that's exactly what happened, because we had a play called for one versus man in candidate versus zone, and didn't necessarily get the play that we wanted, but it doesn't matter sometimes when you have guys that have confidence in what they're doing. And Tuck did a hell of a job winning on the route. Our O-line protected, and Jordan gave him a chance, and that's exactly what it took.
I'm going to rewind it one more time here. Again, listen what he says about that can play, okay? Let's listen one more time.
Disdain on his face.
You started running out the kicker, you called the timeout. What was going through you? What made you decide to do what you ended up doing?
Well, when our quarterback's coming off and I can see the disdain on his face, and
all right, so let's pause there. So he's deciding, all right, let's kick the field goal. Jordan comes off and Jordan looks disgusted, right? Now, how many times did we see Aaron Rodgers look like that and he got raked over the coals, right? Guys, these are grown-ass men out there trying to make decisions in a split second and make sure it's the right decision for the right moment, right? And so with that being said, you can't be overly critical of these guys when they get emotional. It's the same thing with Matt LaFleur on the sideline, right? How many times have I been critical of Matt? Like, I wish he would control his emotions a little bit. I think he's controlling his emotions a lot more this year, and I don't know if I like it. So I keep going back and forth on that as well. Right. But I love that he said he's seen the disdain on Jordan Love's face as he came off the field. Right. And was like, hey, you know what? Hell with it. Get back out there. If you got that much confidence in you, I got that confidence in you as well. Let me hit the super chat and then we'll continue on with what Matt LaFleur had to say. Mike Witt with the super. Thank you, buddy. He says, hey, guys, two things. One, that was so awesome watching Mike wreck the game yesterday. We'll get to that here in a minute, too, Mike, for sure. Two, why didn't Hafley put Hobbs on the bench in the second half? He was horrible yesterday. More Valentine, please. Mike, we kind of hit this in the post-game show, right? It's a free agent signing, man. I know it's not the answer you want to hear because it's the answer I don't want to give, But and again, it's not like it's this huge contract, right? Where it's like, oh man, we can't get out of it, because if it does end up being a bust, we'll dive into it a little bit deeper later in the week. But I'm pretty sure you can get out of it after 2 years. It might even be 1 year. You can kind of break even. Now, you wasted some money up front if that's the case. But it's still an early season too. And listen, Nate Hobbs has battled injury. So he's, you see some players struggling week 1, week 2. What do we say? Well, it's early in the season. They got to get their feet under them, right? Well, Nate Hobbs, this is still like the first 2 or 3 games of the year for him, because he was so far behind on training camp. And that may sound like I'm making an excuse for him, and maybe I am. I'm just trying to think of the glass half full there. With that being said, you know how I feel, man. I want Valentine on the outside. So the problem is, if you're going to play Nate Hobbs in the slot, Javon Bullard goes to the bench. Javon Bullard's been one of your best run defenders, right? Nate Hobbs is too. So what you've got is 2 slot corners that are good at playing the run for slot corners, right? But both of which can't cover that well. So you're kind of in between there. So again, if our run defense was struggling more, I'd be more apt to make a change. But right now, the run defense has been pretty solid up to this point. You've essentially got a top 3, top 5 run defense. So it's tough to make that decision. For me, I guess what I'm saying, Mike, I would have kept him in. I wouldn't have benched him. I would have did what Half did. But I understand exactly where you're coming from, because it's getting close. You get 2 or 3 more games like that, maybe you're forced to make that decision. But thank you for the super chat, buddy. Again, I don't think that's a silly request or anything, man. I think you're spot on there. That there is a little bit of an issue with Nate Hobbs for sure. So, all right, let's go back to Matt LaFleur at the podium. So again, we talked about that, right? Jordan Love coming off the field, he sees the disdain in Jordan's face. Hey, look, no, hell with it. My quarterback thinks he can get it. Get back out there. Let's do it, right? So let's continue here.
And I looked up at the clock, saw how much time was left. It wasn't by any means a chip shot, although Lucas has come in and done a hell of a job. So I just went.
That's the other thing too, right? You're waiting for Lucas Haversick to turn into a pumpkin. Like, what else can we expect from this guy? He's hit everything, right? He hasn't missed a kick. So in Matt's eyes, he's also got to be thinking like, it's not a chip shot really, but he's been good. There's a lot of different factors coming into play there.
One of those deals where I was like, no matter what we call, this guy's going to make it work. And
when the game's on the line, think player, not play. That's what that is right there.
That's exactly what happened, because we had a a play called for one versus man in candidate versus zone. And
All right. So the play call was, the first one was, all right, that's a man beater. All right. And we got a can play. That's a zone beater that we can too if we read zone.
didn't necessarily get the play that we wanted, but it doesn't matter sometimes when you have guys that have confidence in what they're doing. And Tuck did a hell of a job winning on the route. Our O-line protected, and Jordan gave him a chance, and that's exactly what it took.
Speaking of Lucas,
So that was supposed to, that should have been canned, or?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So the guy asked, so it should have been canned? Listen, I don't know who asked the question, and this isn't a personal attack on them, but the look on Matt LaFleur's face, if you guys, I'm going to drop it for just a second. Look, he's just kind of like, immediately the thought process goes to, oh, so Jordan made a mistake there. Guys, he just won the freaking ball game on a 4th and 2, throwing a 15-yard out route on a dime. And we're looking for a way to steer the conversation. Oh, Jordan made the wrong decision. What are we doing? And we wonder why the fan base gets so damn rabid. That's very, very, very small portion of the fan base. It's just nothing is good enough. That I don't understand people that ask those questions. Anyway,
it's never perfect. And like, give credit to Arizona. This is part of the, I'd say, the genius in what they do is they don't give you looks that are easy that you can tell, oh, this is a man coverage look. So
what he's talking about there is the shell look. If you always show a too high shell, or the majority of the time you show a too high shell, they're disguising. Everything looks the same. So you come out, you do a little bit of motion, you try to read, okay, I think it's man, let's go to the man beater. And then as soon as the ball's snapped, you guys know what I talk about, the 4 things, right? For quarterbacks coming out of the draft: accuracy, quick release, pre-snap read, post-snap read, right? Pre-snap read is come to the line, a little bit of motion. Okay, I think they're in this defense. Well, when you're showing a too high shell, you're Xing one of those 4 things off the list that the quarterback can't utilize to gather information to put your team in the best position to be successful on that specific play, right? That's why showing too high shell is so important in the league. And it's why Vic Fangio has had so much success as a defensive coordinator the places he's gone. So they disguise the look. So he comes out and he thinks, okay, I think it's this defense. It ends up being the other. So you go with the incorrect play, whether it's a zone or a man beater, and you still make it work.
they disguised the look well. It wasn't until after we motioned that it was like, oh, it looks like it's man. So
they thought it was zone, and it ended up being man.
Give credit to them.
You mentioned Lucas. How big was
All right, so there you go. I just wanted to break that down real quick, and that may be a little long-winded, but hopefully we all learned something. I know I did listening to Matt LaFleur talk about that because, again, it's important to understand everything that goes into the play call, because as a fan base, sometimes what happens is it's just, run the ball. We need to run the ball. Then you run the ball, and what do they say? Oh, man, we need to pass. What are we doing run? It's like it's constant teetering within the fan base of, oh, that was a bad call. We should have went with this instead of that. And we don't truly know what goes into the process behind the scenes in terms of determining, one, what are the 2 play calls you're going to call? What's the man beater you call? What's the zone beater you call? And then you come out and you get this pre-snap reading process, and it's okay. I think they're in zone. Let's can to the zone, or I think they're in man. Let's can to the opposite, what have you. So when you approach it that way, and then you get it wrong, now it comes down to leverage. Now it comes down to throwing an absolutely perfect pass, and like Coach LaFleur said, Tucker Kraft running a perfect route to beat it as well, right? So again, man, I think many people don't understand exactly what goes in to the preparation, and then just the split second decisions on the field as well. And listen, guys, I'm not saying that like I know it and many people don't. I don't know either, right? There's many times that you'll hear us on film breakdown. We're not in the meeting room. We don't know exactly what the call is. Based off what I'm seeing, I think it's this, right? So again, just got to give people a little bit of grace. I want to give a shout out to 2-0 for this, one of our awesome viewers. He quote tweeted Matt Schneidman over on X, and Matt Schneidman with this awesome tweet. But I love what 2-0 for this put in the tweet, and I'll play it one time for you guys because I don't know how these GIFs, whether they trigger copyrights or not. But Matt Schneidman said Micah Parsons on the Packers going for it on 4th and 2 late in the 4th quarter instead of kicking the game time field goal. This is what he said. Okay, I'm going to read the whole thing here real quick. He said, let's see. He said, quote, "I got a $200 million quarterback that I trust, and that's what he go do." RG like, oh, they going for it? I said, sit back down. So basically what he's saying, and you see the GIF now from Friday of Craig saying, sit your ass down, right? So essentially what he's saying is they were sitting on the bench. All right, bang. they decide, all right, they're going to kick the field goal. So Gary gets up, like, whatever. Oh, they're going for it. They're going for it. Micah said, man, I got a $200 million quarterback out there. Of course we're going for it. Sit back down. Get you another breather. Love it, dude. Love where this team's at. Love the confidence that Jordan has in Micah and that Micah has in Jordan. It's just absolutely awesome, man. It's such a cool dynamic seeing this young team come together. It really, really is. So let's move along now to the next clip here. Hopefully I can get it set up just right. And this was Jordan Love in the post game. Let me make sure that we get the proper angle here for you guys. Thank y'all for being patient with me today too, man. It's been kind of hectic in here, solo, battling a little bit of illness. So I'm gonna have to go with the Matt LaFleur thing again. All right, I wanted to put the Jordan Love screenshot up there, but that's okay though. So this was Jordan Love with Fox NFL after the game. All right, in the post game post game interview on the field. And this is just Jordan talking about this win, man. And again, I love the fact that there's so many pictures of him and Michael walking off the field together and everything. It's awesome. But here's Jordan being interviewed after the game.
Jordan, congratulations. What a crazy game. Can you take me inside the conversation, the decision between you and Matt LaFleur to go for it on 4th down?
Yeah, Matt, he trusted the offense. He trusted what we were doing and had that confidence in us. And obviously, you go for it, and it worked out for us.
Talk a little bit about the efforts of Josh Jacobs today. We watched him every time he came out. He had to wrap that calf, but he ended up being so crucial in this win.
I mean, Josh is a dog. He's obviously battling through some things, but he's one of those guys, you're going to get his best every time he wants the ball, and he makes big-time plays in big games like this.
To be able to pull this out after not leading until only 2 minutes left in the game, what does it say about where this squad is at this point in the season?
It's the resilience, This is the NFL. All these teams are good. You got to find ways in these games to come out on top and to go finish. Obviously, wasn't our best performance, early on, and you just got to find a way to come together and go win those.
Enjoy the victory. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
All right. Love it, man. So Jordan Love, QB1 out there, man. I just love how he represents this team. He's like, studying business and stuff, like the CEO, the face of the franchise, the face of the organization, whatever you want to call it. It's so important. It's so important. And it's so just kind of brushed to the side in today's society. It's all about who makes the play. It's all about, result driven. Like somebody said in the chat here, here we go. Nick McSwain said, people saying finally LaFleur went for the win, but y'all know if that 4th down call didn't work, they'd be saying he screwed the game up. It's so true. It's so true. And again, we've seen time and time again him being aggressive this year. Like I make the joke all the time. I wish the people on my timeline who say Matt LaFleur's too aggressive could beat the people who say he's too conservative, because there's both of them drifting through the timeline from time to time for sure. So again, yeah, as Corey says here in the chat, love his attitude. Jordan Love's a man, dude. He is the man. So let's see what Chester Marco says here in the chat. That defense was gassed. Highly doubtful that a game-time field goal holds up. So logically, going for it on 4th down was the right call. It's another wrinkle, right, Chester? Another wrinkle to the decision that Matt LaFleur made to go for it there, right? And you take all those things into consideration in a split second. Again, you got to tip your cap, man. It was a hell of a call for sure. So, all right, let's move it along now. Let's go on to a little Micah Parsons, Rashawn Gary talk. Again, guys, you know that when they brung on Micah Parsons in this trade and they gave him that huge contract, right? There's a multitude of ways you could look at it. Micah's going to eat up a lot of the cap in the future, right? There's no two ways about that. But also there were people that were saying, hey, I would trade 3 first-round picks and Rashawn Gary for Micah Parsons. And, we were very, very open and critical about that. Like, why, if you get rid of Rashawn Gary and pick up Micah Parsons, it probably would be a net gain, but I say a net gain, it would be a net gain on pass rush, but your run defense is going to suffer, right? And the fact that we were able to keep Rashawn Gary, now you lose Kenny Clark, I get you, but you were able to keep Rashawn Gary, and we're playing without Devontae Wyatt too right now, which is wild to think about. You got a couple of draft picks in there. I think they're 4th and 6th round picks that are playing defensive tackle for you right now. But the fact that you're able to keep Rashawn Gary is really what stirs this drink, right? It's what makes this thing happen. So obviously Micah Parsons with his 3rd sack of the game yesterday. That's the first time in his career he's had 3 sacks, which is wild to think about. So any of the Cowboy fans that thought we wasn't going to get the most out of Micah Parsons, they are sadly mistaken. He's already doing things in Green Bay. You guys can share that, by the way, on X. Let those Cowboys fans know, man, isn't it funny? He's been with the Packers less than a half a season. He's already doing things he couldn't do in Dallas. Funny how that works, right? So here was the audio from Micah Parsons' 3rd sack of the game. This one coming, obviously, in, if I can get it to pull up here, in the 4th quarter, right? 32 seconds left in the game. So what this does is this actually, this is crucial, guys. This is right at the end, right? This is the game on the line. We talk about think player, not play on offense. Same thing applies on defense. Here is Micah Parsons' 3rd sack.
Need a touchdown from the 26. Here comes Parsons. Wow.
So, I mean, I'm telling you, he absolutely clobbers Jacoby Brissett on that play, man. He came, it was front side, Jacoby's looking left, and I need to clip it and zoom in so you can see literally Micah bearing down on him with him having no idea. You know, you talk about backside pressure and how important it is to have your backside protected. This is Jacoby Brissett looking left, and sometimes the defenses are geared towards where's your pass rush coming from. If Micah's rushing off the front side, you want to present a defense that pre-snap, like we talk about, the quarterback looks to the right and goes, all right, the answer isn't there. Everything's clustered up over there. They may be in a Mabel look. They may be in a press man look or whatever it might be. I'm going to have to look left first, and you get your best pass rusher coming from the face side. Right. So that type of stuff matters too. Marrying up. We talk about marrying up the run with the pass on offense. You also want to marry up the pass rush with the coverage on defense. I thought this was an interesting tweet here. All right. Matt Schneidman quote tweeted David Bakhtiari. So let me start with the David Bakhtiari tweet first. He says, it baffles me when an offensive coordinator / play caller doesn't help a tackle when he clearly is getting abused. Micah versus Williams is who he's referring to. Crazy how this is a more common occurrence around the league. Only a few play callers in the league actually deviate from their script and have a true feel during the game to adjust. And Matt Schneidman quote tweeted him and said, I wrote about this in a story posting momentarily. Parsons was surprised at the one-on-ones he got after the resources teams had devoted to him this season. He beat Jonah Williams twice for sacks in the 4th quarter. All 3 of his sacks came on one-on-ones. So again, sooner or later, these teams look up and go, all right, they're calling the defense because they know we're up against the clock because they're playing with the lead. Not in this specific case, but early in the season so far. So they're starting to adjust. They're starting to switch things up, and offenses are starting to go, all right, you're going to have to hold your ground in a one-on-one because we want to get an extra pass catcher out there. Or Lord forbid somebody mention or show the fact that Rashawn Gary gets chipped all the time too. So who knows, on some of these plays, maybe Gary was on the field and he was getting chipped at times, right? Not this specific play, but just in general. So again, I love the fact that David Bakhtiari put that tweet out there. And it's not to go, oh, what an idiot. I mean, he was saying basically what an idiot you are letting them go one-on-one. But it's just to prove that every single week things change. These teams are looking at the tape and going, damn, boys, we got to do something different because, yeah, teams are able to matriculate the ball down the field and average, even though they're less than 5 yards per play, which is, pretty abysmal from a per play standpoint and just total yardage, but the clock's running out. So we got to try something a little bit different. And then maybe that explains why Jacoby Brissett had an inflated stat line there in the passing game. But again, when the game's on the line, what ended up happening at the end? You ended up holding out and getting the win for sure, the come from behind victory there. So another tweet that went out from Micah Parsons, which I absolutely loved, from Matt Schneidman about Micah Parsons that I love. Micah Parsons with a subtle shot at Jerry Jones tonight when he asked about the refs calling a hold on a guy blocking him. Quote, yeah, in the run game. Yeah. So I'm pretty decent in the run game because you guys know Jerry Jones was pretty vocal about saying Micah Parsons was a liability in the run game, right? He said it without saying it, right? But I love the fact that Micah's still taking those subtle jabs. Listen, I think Micah loves being here with the Packers. I really do. And I think a big part of that is going unnoticed, and that's Rashawn Gary. Rashawn Gary, guys, he's having a hell of a year. He's up to 5.5 sacks. I put a tweet out, and I want to play the audio. This, in my opinion, yes, the Micah sacks were huge. They were important, all 3 of them. But this play right here, I put a tweet out, and I'm just going to read the tweet, and then we'll play the audio for you. I put, lost in the buzz of last night's win for the Packers is one of the most important plays. Rashawn Gary records his 5th sack of the season, 5.5 technically, right? While forcing the fumble. So this is the strip sack, right? This play forced the game's only turnover and happened in the crucial middle 8. So again, it's just one of those plays that goes without, without saying. Let me go full. I better not go full. I was trying to make sure that I had that right on the middle 8. I think I did. So we talk about the middle 8. The Packers lost the middle 8 7-3, but this is early in the third quarter where the Arizona Cardinals, you see, they're almost to midfield, so they're driving on us. If they score here and they extend that middle 8 score where they won it 7-3, technically, understand too, though, the Packers just outside of the middle 8, they actually ended up scoring like at the 9-minute mark because you get this strip sack. So you could make the argument that the middle 8 was actually won by the Packers 10-7. But it happened at the 9-minute mark, so you got to cut it off. Usually if it's within a minute, I'll stretch it out because it does have the same effect, if you will, right? In the middle 8, what we're talking about is the last 4 minutes of the first quarter, the first 4 minutes of the second quarter. Head coaches, coaching staffs across the league view that as a crucial time in the game to control momentum. And then, of course, this won you the turnover differential as well, right? With the turnover battle, Packers ended up winning 1-0. So let's play the audio here of Rashawn Gary getting this strip sack. It's absolutely huge in the ballgame.
New set of downs as Brissett has the ball knocked loose. Fumble. It's recovered by the Packers.
Absolutely huge, man. So again, 11:50 left in the third quarter. So this is right inside the middle 8. Arguably the most crucial play of the game. It wins you the turnover differential. It helps minimize that middle 8 score. And like I said, if you want to count the 9-minute and some change mark where the Packers scored right after that, they get 7 points off the turnover. You really won the middle 8, essentially, because it's all about controlling momentum. And that's exactly what happened there. After the game, Rashawn Gary met with the media at his locker. And let's hear what Rashawn Gary had to say here. I want to give a shout out to Matt Schneidman, who tweeted this out. This is Rashawn Gary, basically just talking about the game. Here we go.
We still got areas to improve, but it just shows, for the 31 teams, whoever got to face us on our schedule, that, the Green Bay Packers going to, play 4 quarters, man. It might not be perfect, but we're going to go balls to the wall and let the chips lay what they lay.
I love it, man. He said it just shows for the 31 teams, whoever got to face us on our schedule, that the Packers are going to go for 4 quarters, man. It might not be perfect, but we always going to go. We're going to go balls to the wall. So, again, you've seen them win a bunch of games here early in the season where you've led pretty much the whole game, right? You're playing from ahead, and people are complaining about the defense giving up a lot of points in the second half. But, again, you're playing the clock. The clock becomes your opponent, right? You just got to kind of bring it in a nice, easy landing. Forget the score. Forget the stats. Just bring it in a nice, easy landing. Well, in this game, you trailed the entire game, right? You never led one time until the fourth quarter score with whatever it was, 2 minutes left in the game. So now you're showing that you can win those type of ball games. So you can play from ahead, you can play from behind now. It's really, really cool to see everything kind of falling into place. So again, Rashawn Gary, I love the energy he's bringing here, man. Love the energy. Let's go to the super chat here. Mike, sorry if this is a little bit delayed, buddy. Appreciate you being patient. He said it won't get talked about a lot today, but I think Carl Brooks had a really good day rushing the QB. I'm excited to dive into the tape today. So obviously I've watched it one time through with the TV copy. Now we're going to dive into the All-22. The goal is going to be to watch it 3 more times with the All-22. We'll see if we have time to get Chalk Talk ready. But I'm excited to see what Carl did. And that's what I was talking about, is like when you're talking about the 2 defensive tackles, right, with Devontae Wyatt out, you got Carl Brooks, you got Kobe Wooden, you got Warren Brinson. I don't know how many snaps he got yesterday. I don't remember hearing his name. You got TJ Slayton. He's a, undrafted free, or not TJ Slayton. I always want to call him TJ Slayton. Nazir Stackhouse, it's just same number, same body type, right? He's undrafted. You got a bunch of late round picks trying to play that 3-and-1 tech in that nickel 4-2-5, right? So Carl Brooks, I'm excited to dive into the tape and see if he did have a good day there, man. Appreciate the super chat though. I think there's got to be something going on behind the scenes there for them to hold up the way they have at crucial moments. That's for sure, man. So, all right. With that being said, let's talk a little Josh Jacobs. That's all right with you guys. This guy, I think he's the emotional leader of this team. I think Jordan Love brings this calm demeanor, right? Like we said, he's one of those guys. He's not going to be very vocal, but boy, oh boy, when his teammates look into Jordan Love's eyes, they believe. right? Like Micah's saying, that's my $200 million quarterback out there. Sit your butt back down. Josh Jacobs is that dude that's going to bring the raw emotion, right? And you heard him in the press conference, right? You heard him and what he said there, or not the press conference, but the locker room speech from Matt LaFleur, him getting emotional. You can hear his voice cracking like Jim was talking about in the chat. Here he was in the locker room after the game. Dominique Yates tweeted this out. It's just a video of Josh Jacobs talking about the sickness and the calf strain as well. Here we go. Here's number 8.
I did on Friday, which is always, a hard thing to do. But I was trying to tell them, the last time I did something like this, I had the best game of my career, 304 yards against Seattle. The last time I did, sprain the calf on Friday. And I was just trying to tell them, man, like, trust me, I'm going to be honest about how I feel and what I can do. But don't ever doubt me and don't ever, limit me in a sense. Just trust me and let me be who I am.
So our boy, he just wanted to be out there, dude. Again, here's what the tweet said. Don't ever doubt me. Don't ever limit me. Last week it was the flu. This week it was a strained calf. Still, Packers running back Josh Jacobs said there was no question that he was playing against the Cardinals today. He was not going to be denied. So again, shout out to Dominique Yates over on X for posting that. And again, when you start to look at the stat line, guys, Eli Berkovitz put this out. Shout out to him, man. One of my favorite follows on X. Josh Jacobs over the last 3 games, 234 yards rushing, 131 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns. Guys, he's averaging 2 tutters a game the last 3 games. That's insane. The receiving yards, I mean, you're looking at what, 465 yards and 6 touchdowns in the last 3 games. Josh Jacobs is on one, man. He's a different type of animal. And then if we were to take it a step further, right? Give a shout out to Packers Realm over on X for tweeting this out. That's at Packers Realm, another very underrated Twitter follow, X follow, whatever you want to call it. Josh Jacobs as a Packer. So Josh Jacobs has now played 23 games as a Green Bay Packer. He's got 23 touchdowns. He's averaging a touchdown a game. Josh Jacobs is the leader of this team, the emotional leader of this team, man. And it's so exciting to see him, such a good dude, have the team rally behind him the way they have and just continue to do great things, man. So just wanted to give a little bit of love to Josh Jacobs. He is he's the unsung hero here lately. And sometimes the running game don't get going and it's easy to overlook him. Look at what he's done in the receiving game, guys. Those are crazy numbers we just talked about. Absolutely insane. So, all right, let's move it along. Here we go. This is perfect timing here. I think you're in the studio with me, aren't you, Sickish? Sickish says, six-ish. I think I got that right. Without the clutch field goal by Haversick, the Cardinals could have won with a field goal at the end instead of having to score a touchdown. It's so true. So true. So what's he talking about? I imagine he's talking about the new franchise record 61-yard field goal. You know what? Let's play the audio, and then we'll get back to it. Let's give you a little Stephen A. Smith screenshot here, all right? So for those who were worried about Rich Bisaccia in the kicking game, right? Oh, boy, you guys know we're ready to fire Bisaccia and the whole 9 yards. Brandon McManus hurts his quad, misses 2 games, and you just go get this kicker off the street. Shout out to Brian Gutekunst, by the way. You go and get Haversick. And what I tweeted out here was the substitute teacher now has the Green Bay Packers franchise record, a 61-yard field goal. You can't make this stuff up. So, again, the score was 13-3 at the moment, right? This 61-yarder, and listen, you got to give props to Jordan Love getting them down there, too. I think he hit Romeo Dobbs, I believe it was, across the middle of the field, get you in field goal range. I'm going to be real. I didn't think there was a snowball's chance in hell of Haversick hitting the 61-yard field goal. Boy, he kicked it to the freaking moon. Here's the audio courtesy of Fox NFL.
Lucas Haversick from 61, and the kick is good.
Unbelievable. One more time. Listen to it one more time.
Lucas Haversick from 61, and the kick is good.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. So, again, you being able to get those 3 points right before halftime, right? Like Sixers says here, without that clutch field goal by Haversick, the Cardinals could have won with the field goal at the end instead of having to score a touchdown. These are the little things that matter. And that happened in the middle 8. That's the reason the middle 8 was technically 7-3 Arizona, because you were able to get those 3 points, right? So, again, if you include it to the 9-minute mark, you ended up winning the middle 8, and it's mainly because of that field goal, right? You would have won the middle 8 10-7, and you won a turnover differential 1-0. So again, when we do chalk talk, this is the order. This is the whole backbone of chalk talk. This is what I try to do, guys. I try to find the plays where it's like, yeah, that was a flashy play. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Okay, that was a cool moment. But what plays actually decided the game? It's easy to look up and go, Micah Parsons 3 sacks. That's the reason we won the game, right? Really what it comes down to for me are plays like this. The 61-yard, I want to give a shout out to Jacob Morley, who I believe was on the sidelines in Arizona. He took this shot. What an epic shot. Obviously, he's got a tagged Packer report. I think that's who he works with. Jacob Morley is an awesome follow on X as well. He said, anyway, here's a Lucas Haversick bombing a 61-yarder. So there is the shot of him hitting that. So that play there, a 61-yard field goal as time expires in the first half. Crucial play, and the pass play leading up to get you in range there. That could have been the difference in the ball game, right? You get the Rashawn Gary strip sack in the middle 8, which is the only turnover of the game. That was huge. And then you get the 4th and 2 play where you decide to go for it, and Jordan Love hits Tucker Kraft for the 15-yard out route. Those, in my opinion, forget Micah Parsons' 3 sacks. Those 3 plays right there, if they don't happen, you don't win that game. If one of those 3 plays does not happen in that game, you do not win that game. So that's the whole purpose of Chalk Talk, is to try to – we're going to hit all 3 sacks. It's going to be fun watching Micah Parsons kick the Cardinals' ass, right? But you really want to key in on those plays where it's like, wow, these are the 3 plays that truly made the difference. And again, Haversick, I know this. He's going to have a practice on the or a spot on the practice squad when Brandon McManus comes back. He better. And don't be surprised if another team picks him up. Also, I personally would not rule out holding an active spot on the roster for him, meaning keep him on the 53 because you got a little game day activation, deactivation that you can work around stuff. If another team goes out and snatches him off the practice squad and Brandon McManus's injury resurfaces later in the year, that would suck not to have him. But Haversick is a damn dog. So again, we wanted to criticize Bisaccia for them signing Anders Carlson because he knew Daniel Carlson and this and that, right? Like he worked with Daniel Carlson in the past. That's Anders' brother. We better be giving credit to Bisaccia for approving this kicker signing, right? If you're going to criticize for the signing of Anders Carlson, then you better give credit when you find Haversick. And the other thing too, if you're going to criticize Bisaccia for kicks getting blocked, you better give him praise when that seems to be fixed, and they're putting 2 defensive linemen out there protecting now. Shout out to Emilio, who noticed that last game. I don't know if they did this game, but they did last game. And then you coach up this young, inexperienced Haversick to go out and be perfect the last 2 weeks, right? So all I'm saying is, again, just like LaFleur, Bisaccia is not perfect, but you got to give credit where credit's due, man. You do. You can't say their butts on the line and it's all their fault when something goes wrong, and then not give them credit when things go right. Just want to mention that. Mike Witt with the super chat. Thank you, Mike. He says, and they actually called a couple holding calls on people blocking Micah. Crazy. Now I can't wait to see Micah do the same to our former quarterback. Man, that's going to be a fun game, guys. We got Packers Steelers this week. Jordan versus Aaron, right? Matt LaFleur versus Mike Tomlin, which, by the way, Matt LaFleur winning percentage way higher than Mike Tomlin's. That's pretty cool, right? People look at Mike Tomlin like he's, wow, this legendary coach, right? Matt LaFleur is smoking his ass in winning percentage. Now, he just got to get the ring like we talked about for sure. So, yeah, it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun seeing them go up against Aaron. You guys know I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan. I've been rooting for Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was my brother's favorite team. You guys, if you watch this show for some time, I grew up a Steelers fan in the 90s. I didn't really have a favorite pro team, so I just rooted for my big brother's team. And my brother passed away 2 years ago, unfortunately. So I'm kind of always keeping my eye on the Steelers. Now, if it ever comes down to a head-to-head matchup like this week coming up, I hope the Packers beat the snot out of them. I always tell the story of when the Packers faced the Steelers in the Super Bowl. My brother gave me a call that morning. I'll never forget it. We chatted like we normally did on Sundays. Miss those conversations, man. Guys, don't take a second for granted with family members, brothers, sisters, close friends, because it can be over like that. And what I would do to hear his voice again, man. I've got voicemails saved that I play all the time when I get to missing him. But he called me that Super Bowl Sunday and said, "Hey, man, I just want you to know I'm a Packer fan today, man. I hope they go get that ring. I hope Aaron Rodgers gets him a ring today. That's what he said. So now come Sunday, I love me some Aaron Rodgers. I hope they kick the hell out of Aaron Rodgers on Sunday. You're right. I want the Packers to win by 40 points. And then afterwards pick them up off the turf and go, hey, man, good game. Can't wait to see you in the Packer Hall of Fame. Right? That's the way I see that situation. I see people arguing on X about it. I don't – guys, Aaron Rodgers was a great player for this organization, first ballot Hall of Famer, right? Don't criticize Packer fans for wanting him to do good, right? But on the other hand, if you're truly a Packer fan, I don't know how you could be rooting for Aaron to beat the Packers this Sunday, right? You got to pick a side this week. That's all I'm saying. You got to pick a side. I'm just trying to stay quiet on it because I love both there. So, Mike Witt, thank you so much for that super chat, buddy. Appreciate you. All right, last thing, I just want to play this audio clip because I feel like we need to show a little bit of love to Quay Walker. Quay is one of these dudes that listen, he struggled. There's no two ways about it. In my opinion, he has not lived up to that first round pick. At the same time, you're kind of in this in-between spot right now where it's okay. Is he worth signing to an extension? The answer is yes. How much? That's where the water gets a little muddy. So if he's wanting top linebacker money, I want to be very clear. I don't think Quay Walker is worth top linebacker money. However, that being said, he's been playing a lot better football this year. I felt like he had a hell of a game yesterday. Now, tonight on PTA, 6 p.m. Central Time tonight, we're going to be breaking down the PFF grades. I'm excited to see how they had him graded, and I'm excited to jump into the All-22 and see what the All-22 end zone cam shows in his play. But boy, oh boy, he showed up. What do you have? 1.5 sacks. He showed up in the stat column yesterday. So let's hit one of those sacks real quick. You know what? Let's give a little shook up Ben Johnson here for this grab. So Quay Walker said, hell with it. Gonna hold. I'm taking you with me. So I can't wait. I'm going to show this on Chalk Talk this week because I want you guys to see him being held, no flag be thrown. And he literally sacks the quarterback through the running back who's trying to block him when they bring him on this blitz. All right, here we go. Here's Quay Walker, one of his 1.5 sacks.
Second down and 15. Brissett in trouble, and he is sacked. Parsons once again along with Quay Walker. And that takes.
All right, so there you go. Again, if you watch the clip, Quay Walker just dog walks the running back right into the quarterback, wraps his arms around the running back, grabs the quarterback, and takes them both to the ground. It was absolutely awesome. So Quay is playing much better football, right? I truly believe that. I think Quay is on pace to have his best season yet. The question is he worth the extra money, right? Is he worth paying top 3 linebacker money? You guys let me know in the comments as the show, we're getting ready to wrap up, but I want to hear in the comments what you guys think. Is Quay Walker worth top 3 linebacker money? Or is it just one of those things you want to pay him, you want to pay him kind of the market value, what he's worth, essentially, right? The problem is, what stat do you go off of for a stack backer? What's the comp? How do you determine the comp, the compensation comparison for somebody like Quay Walker? Because you look at the tackles, he's got a ton of tackles, but we all know tackles, the tackle stat can be very, very, very misleading, right? But at the same time, if you didn't have Quay Walker on this defense and it was Isaiah McDuffie, who, by the way, is playing great football, don't get me wrong, Isaiah McDuffie as a Sam backer in our base 4-3 is playing as good as anybody in the league. He really is. But when he's asked to cover down the seam in our nickel 4-2-5 or blitz the way that we like to blitz Quay, I think we would all agree he's not as good as Quay in that regard, right? So it's just tough. It's one of those in-betweener situations for sure. So I'm excited to see if Quay ends up signing with the Packers, because again, I think with Quay Walker, I want him on the team, but for the right price, And the reality is, let me put it this way: if you decide to sign Quay Walker to top 3 money and he's playing like, let's say, a top 15 linebacker, then you overpaid for him, right? You overpaid for good. You didn't overpay for great, essentially. Now, what if you decide to move on? You go, well, that's a big hole you got to fill. I completely agree. And let's assume Hopper and McDuffie isn't the answer. What if you go find another edger and Cooper in the draft, right? And again, I'm not saying you should do this. I'm just kind of spitballing. I'm kind of walking it through live here on the show. Could you go get Jahad Campbell in the draft? Stud for Philadelphia. Last I checked, he was graded out in the 80s, right? Just a stud. So if you settle for signing Quay Walker and overpaying for him, right, and you pass up on drafting the next stud that you could potentially find in the first or second round as your stack backer, that's a net loss. Plus, you're eating up a lot of cap. Now, if you decide to sign Quay at a reasonable cap number, right, you're coming out way better. So that's kind of where I'm at. And it's not that easy because Quay's looking at the market going, you know what? I could accept this contract and it's good money, but I know I'm going to get more on the open market. I can understand him wanting to get more money, but I can also understand Goody and Russ Ball going, it's just not worth that much. Because again, you got Micah Parsons' huge contract. You got a lot of stuff, a lot of decisions to be made here in the future. You got to decide on Elton Jenkins if you're going to bring him back next year or not. And I think the second half of the season will determine how valuable he truly is, because you may be looking to replace him here real soon. So there's just a lot of things that come into play. And listen, week 7 in the NFL season is not the time to have those conversations, although it does get sprinkled in from time to time here on PTA, because this stuff matters. It does, man. It truly does matter. I see everybody following in the chat now, and they're like, man, I'm late. I didn't know you were live. I'm so sorry, y'all. I didn't want to commit to it last night because you can hear my voice. It was a rough night. I was up all night hacking and everything. And I rolled over and it was 7:30 this morning. I was like, you know what? Let's get a cup of coffee and get in there and talk some Victory Monday. So I apologize for not letting everybody know in advance, but I had the stream created, but I didn't promote it because I didn't want to mislead you guys. But we'll definitely be live again tonight, 6 p.m. Central. We're going to break out the PFF grades and have a good time there. So with that being said, as the voice cracks again, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, guys. I want to thank Mike Witt for the super chats. Thank you so much, buddy, for all that. Appreciate you. Also want to give a shout out to our Patreon group, patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. It's the best way to support what we do here at PTA. $3 gets you access to everything at the side. If you want to support the channel, we created that years ago, about 2 or 3 years ago. And it was just sitting there. And it was just a way for, all right, you can sign up for the Patreon. There was no extra content on there. It was just a way you could help the show. And then over time, the group started to grow. And I'm like, I feel kind of bad. Let me give some extra content. So that's where you can find the game plan every week. That's where you can find all of the chats where you can connect with other listeners on the show outside of the YouTube chat, right? Like I've had people ask me in the past, why don't you create a Discord or why don't you create another chat? That way, when the show's not live, we can all stay connected. That's what Patreon's for now. So you've got all the chats in there. You can also get access to our draft board from last year. We're going to start to put the draft board together for this year. So in real time, you can see everything kind of built and give us feedback along the way. So with that being said, patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access, best way to support the show. You can also just be a member here on YouTube. That works too. Although I always recommend people join the Patreon community because you get more bang for your buck, right? You get an awesome extra community outside of YouTube, and you also get yourself entered into the giveaways, which I got to come up with a new giveaway. I think we're going to do a Josh Jacobs card this week that's got a jersey patch in it. So a little piece of his jersey that's cut out and it's embedded in the card. I'm sure you guys have seen those type of cards. Really, really cool piece of memorabilia. And Brandon Lancourt won the autographed Javon Bullard rookie card last night. If you're wondering what that is, anybody who's a member on Patreon, we put everybody's name on the wheel and we spin that sucker as long as you're just $3 tier or higher. And it's just a way for us to give back to those who are supporting the channel. So make sure you check it out. Patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. I'm done talking. I'm going to go gargle some salt water, some vinegar or something to try to get this voice a little bit better shape. I got a bunch of errands I got to run, but we'll be back tonight, 6 p.m. Central for PTA Live. Also keep plugged in over on X at Packers_access. I'm going to be watching the tape today. If I have time, I'm going to start shooting clips out. And you'll notice these clips. What I do is I tweet these clips out early with a little take on what you're seeing on the clip. And then those are the ones that compiled together, make the Chalk Talk episode that we'll be doing either tomorrow or Wednesday. So that being said, everybody have a great day. Please do me a favor, hit that like on the way out, hit subscribe, click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live here in the future. This is PTA. My name's Clayton. Go Pack, go.
Here we go.
Bye, guys.